of lifestyle are you guys living?
Champagne taste on a beer budget. It seems like we kind of spend when we want to spend.
What goals do we have for you guys, for the kids? Where are we trying to be looking 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, 20 years down the road? What are we trying to do?
Great
because
questions.
Right now we're just living for fun in the moment. What are we trying to do?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Today, we're going to be talking about something that I'm sure is going to make you uncomfortable, and that is money. Specifically, how it just appears that millennials and Gen Z have been brainwashed into overspending and just generally don't have a great sense of financial literacy. There's one thing that I've noticed, whether it's on TikTok or Twitter, is that most of the time when I'm seeing financial stats or things of that nature, fancy graphs, it involves young people that just are in dire financial straits. And to be completely candid, like, I understand, I've been there. I've had, student loans, I've had credit card debt, I have medical bills currently, and I'm paying off a few bills. It just seems as though if you spoke to 10 random young people, like anyone under the age of 35, the majority of them would say that they are in a bad financial position. And that's not good. And I'm curious as to why that is the case. And a simple answer to this would just be that millennials and Gen Z simply do not know how to spend less than what they make. But I want to go deeper because that's the very surface level answer. And it's very clear. But why is that the issue? Because honestly, this can't just be me that's noticing this, right? It's like every time I go on a social media platform, I'm seeing young people that have terrible finances and seemingly are never going to retire. They're going to work till they die. And that's a whole other thing in and of itself, retirement. But a lot of people are okay with that. They're okay with just YOLOing their money and doing all these things with their money that ultimately benefit them in the now and not in the future. There's no sense of delayed gratification. So I want to figure out why that is the case. And of course, we're going to go through some videos here that I've queued up. And this video, I think, really sums up well what most people think about when they think about finances and millennials and Gen Z.
And spend $600, and then I could take it all home and regret all of it.
Then return it.
But I don't.
Okay.
So then I just am negative $600 for going to Target.
And how much is this loan that you took out that he doesn't know? $6,000. Almost what you bring in after taxes and everything on a monthly basis. Immediately, a month has to go to that. How much was this vacation? You took out $6,000?
No, the vacation was $4,000.
What kind of lifestyle are you guys living?
Champagne taste on a beer budget. It seems like we kind of spend when we want to spend.
What goals do we have for you guys, for the kids? Where are we trying to be looking 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, 20 years down the road? What are we trying to do?
Great questions.
Right now we're just living for fun in the moment. What are we trying to do?
As you can see, this is one of the most extreme cases when it comes to people just not caring about the money they spend. And he asked some great questions. What do you want to do 5-10 years? What are your goals? This is something that I see just plagues young people. There is no sense of vision. There is no financial goals that people have, and there is only just spending for the now. There is only just living for the now. And again, I've experienced this in the past, and it takes a long time to get out of, because ultimately what I've learned about money is just an amplifier. If you have really bad behaviors when it comes to discipline, money will amplify that. If you have really good behaviors and you're a really good steward overall of things in your life, well, money will just amplify that as well. And honestly, it's not surprising that young people are really bad with money, because in everywhere else, it appears as though they struggle with having forethought, with thinking about goals, with thinking about vision. And I don't blame millennials and Gen Z for having these issues. A lot of it is just life. It's having to look in the mirror and ask yourself, what do you want to do in 5-10 years? Seems to be a lack of vision and almost like an apathy to what the future holds for young people. Yeah, it's clearly behavioral issues and psychological issues that have to be dealt with first and foremost. And this next video is, I think, a great example of one of the reasons why I think people spend money, and it's this idea of shiny object syndrome. And it's kind of when, you have your sight set on something and it's more than likely a big ticket item and it costs you quite a bit of money, and you think that buying it is going to solve a problem in your life or it's going to make you happy. And as we'll see in this video, it's just not the case.
Here she is. It's a Mercedes-AMG GT53. Why are you getting rid of it, Nick? Well, I'm glad you asked. Well, reason number one, it's not as exciting as it once was or as I thought it was going to be. When I first got it, very exciting. Loved driving it. People would tell me how nice it was. That was cool. Never had a car that anyone ever said, that's a nice car. That felt nice. But then it faded away. That feeling of excitement faded away. And it's a good thing. I realized that no thing outside of me will ever make me happy, ever. Now, it makes you wonder, if I am not excited about the car anymore, it's been less than a year, keep in mind, why did I really buy it? Was it because I wanted it so bad and I love the car so much? Or did I just want other people to know that I can buy it? Now, if you ask me when I bought it, am I buying it for other people? I would have said, no, absolutely not. I love the car. I feel like you can't really tell until you have the car.
Yeah, so that is a great example of shiny object syndrome, when people feel like there's this item, whether it be a car or even a home, where it really looks beautiful. It looks like it's going to change your life in some way, and you have to get it. And in his particular case, the payment ended up being $1,600 a month if you include insurance. He could afford it. He bought it, and that feeling of satisfaction ended up fading over time, as with all items that we purchase. Let's be honest. I love cameras, and a few years ago, I bought the most expensive camera that I ever had. And I thought it was going to change the way I took photos. It ended up not doing that. In fact, the second I opened it, I realized that what I did was unnecessary. And as he says in this video, a lot of times we purchase things not for even our own satisfaction, but just to be able to say that I could have this to the people around us, because things like a car or homes are status symbols. And again, it's all psychological. This idea of getting things that we cannot afford to show off is all psychological. And if you watch Dave Ramsey, I'm sure you've heard him say it many times, to not buy stuff to impress people. And it is so true, because when you do fall into that trap, you end up understanding that this item or object or whatever was never going to please you in the first place. And even worse, if you buy it and you can't afford it, then now you have something that has just become a financial burden on you. And so this is a great example of why I think people buy things that they cannot afford. And hopefully exposing it like this helps for you to see if there's things in your life that are shiny objects that you bought when you shouldn't have, and to get rid of them and never to make that mistake again, because I know a lot of young people that suffer from this. This next video is just really incredible words of wisdom from a Gen Xer or a boomer. I have no idea. This woman honestly could pass for 30 years old. She's 54, but incredible words of wisdom. Let's take a listen.
I'm 54, and if you're younger than me, here's some really hard financial truths that are probably going to make you uncomfortable, but they just might save you. Your dream life is possible, but not with your current financial habits. If you need a payment plan to afford it, you can't afford it. You're not saving money when you buy something on sale. You still spent, you just spent less. If you don't control your money, someone else will. And guess what? They're not going to use it in your best interest. A credit card is not an emergency fund.
That's like a huge one. Many people needed to hear that.
If you don't take the time to understand money, you will spend your life working for someone who does. Financial stress, it's self-inflicted. You can't retire on vibes and optimism. You're going to have to work until you die if you don't start investing. Your bank account reflects your choices, not your excuses. You don't believe me? Take a look. Every dollar you spend is a vote for the life that you're building. What are you voting for? Security or poverty? You don't need a financial miracle. You need financial discipline.
This is just incredible stuff.
Stop praying for money and begin managing what you have. Your future is being sold off one impulse purchase at a time, and you will never escape the cycle of being broke until you admit that you are the problem. Hope that helps.
Okay, so I will say, if you are someone that struggles with money in any way, shape, or form, if you watch this video, it should just like convict you. It should just, an arrow should just go right into you, because everything she said is right on the money. No pun intended. What listening to someone like this woman ultimately does is just lay out the path that being financially free is not rocket science. It's very, very simple. The math is simple. Math has always been simple for the most part. Just, not the whole algebra stuff. It's mostly just, regular addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. That's how money works, right? It's not complicated, but we make it complicated because, like I said at the beginning of this video, money is an amplifier of who we are, of the habits we have, of the behaviors we have psychologically. And when you don't have a good grasp on what those things are, and you are not able to control your money, someone else who can control money will control you, aka banks. When you go into debt and you rack up credit card debt and you have interest compounding, banks have control over you. Instead, let us strive to be financially sound, financially literate, to have a good grasp on who we are, why we are the way we are, so that we can use money as the tool that it was intended to be always. Not a means to gratify yourself for the now, but as a means to create security for the future, as a means to create inheritance for your future, for your family, for your children, and their children's children. It's crazy because all these things, all these principles she mentioned are biblical, and I'm a Christian, so I very much subscribe to basically everything that she said. You have to be good stewards of what you've been given, because if you are not, those decisions will bite you in the butt. Those decisions will hold you back ultimately. And you only can get more if you're trusted with a little. That's a huge, huge thing that I've learned in the past and have experienced is, unless you can be trusted with a little, how can you be trusted with more from God? That's just not going to happen. And so making those adjustments to not overspend, but instead to look in the mirror and reflect and figure out why it is that you have a lack of self-control. Those are the ways that we're able to break out of poverty ultimately, and just not be broke, because at the end of the day, it's just a whole lot of broke people, it seems. Now, I enjoy this video because it gives us a sense of the culture of what's going on in a place like Los Angeles, one of the most expensive places to live. So let's take a listen.
It's honestly crazy to me to see how people save or spend their money. Like, I know several people who make like a okay living, but then they're out buying dinner all the time or spending money on drinks or buying new clothes. And I'm like, are you not saving any money? Like, I feel like probably because I was raised with like a mindset of scarcity. Like, my dad would be like, check how many ounces are on the cereal box. Like, then we'll buy the cheaper one, or like whatever. Like, that was just always what I was hearing when I was younger. And so I save like everything. Like, I would rather eat at home and then go see friends and like eat. Like, it's just how I was raised. And so that's like, my mindset is, oh, we need to save money, etc. So I can build, like, buy a house someday, whatever. But I feel like all my friends in LA and people I see on social media especially are out here with like Bottega purses and like buying dinner every other freaking day and eating at Erewhon. And I'm like, I know that I probably make more than you, but like, how are you doing that? Like, how are you actually, like, are you saving any money? It's wild to me. And then my boyfriend the other day was like, most people don't think about money the way you do, Sarah. Like, most people aren't, trying to like save everything. And I like, you know, you have to spend money to make money, but like, it's wild.
Okay, so two really important points that she brought up. One, I mean, it's crazy to see the discrepancy between people. It's also nice to see that there are younger people that think this way. And obviously kudos to her father, because I think she mentioned her father had a mindset of scarcity, and that's why he said to not spend money just to save it. I would push back on that. I think her father was a good steward, and I think instilling this idea of having to be careful of what you're spending, to be mindful of what you're spending. Obviously, you can take that to an extreme, but we also see the extreme now of overspending. Ultimately, she's going to be in a great place if she continues on this path. And that path was instilled in her by her parents. And what I'm also seeing is that there is a huge lack of financial guidance from parents to millennials and Gen Z. And that is clear, or not just from their parents, but from the education that they received as well. And she also mentioned you got to spend money to make money. That's like a business term. If you are an investor or things like that, that applies to you. But for most people working 9 to 5, that does not apply to you. You do not have to spend money to make money. If you're a regular person that's just working a W-2 job. And so all that to say, keep that in mind. And this last video is very interesting because it just kind of sums up what is the current climate with younger people and money, and just kind of feeling like a victim with money.
So big mad at my last video because I told people to save their money right now. Here's the thing, I'm a normal person with a normal job. These influencers push products and lifestyles to you that we cannot afford as normal people. I gain nothing. I do not make money from this app. I gain nothing from telling you to save your money. And I don't mean to be an extremist. I'm not an extremist. There are people who get what I'm saying, and I'm glad. I'm not saying don't treat yourself. I get my nails done and I budget for it every single month. I've been broke, I've been laid off before. I just want people to be prepared. Saving money is in.
So saving money is in. And one thing that she mentioned that I thought was so interesting is that people were getting upset at her when she said to save your money. Now, if that doesn't explain the current climate when it comes to young people and money, I don't know what will. I don't know what will. And I would assume it's because people feel like, you know, the cost of living is so high. And I've made videos about this on this channel. It is very high, but you ultimately are the one that decides how to spend your money, when to spend your money. When people like this, regular people, are making content saying that saving money is in right now, I mean, that at least that to me indicates that spending money was in, which is clear. All that to say, how do we address this overspending problem that people have, that young people specifically have? I want to start off by saying it's important to not compare your financial situation to another person's financial situation that's in a completely different stage of life. That is what got you into this mess in the first place. That's what usually gets people into the financial messes they're in the first place, is that they overspend to impress someone. They overspend because they see other people, you know, spending a bunch of money, going on these lavish vacations, and they think that they deserve that too, just because someone they know did it. And I hate to tell you that, but that's just not the case. You have to live within your means, and you have to focus on what you have, and you have to focus on what you've been given to steward. That's it. All these patterns, all these bad behaviors, they've been taught by society, social media, and you have to unlearn them. Ultimately, you have to unlearn them. And the base type of thing that you can apply to unlearn them is figure out what your expenses are just to live and survive. Write those things down. That is your budget for the next month. I think sometimes people are like, oh, I don't need to live by a budget. I can do this, you know, on my own. It doesn't matter. Just try it. Try it for a month. Try it for 3 months and see what can happen if you just budget your money and start to make cuts where you can make cuts. Because once you make cuts, you can figure out that money that's free can go to debt. And then once your debt's been paid off, it can go to savings. And then once that's been done, you can start being aggressive, asking for, you know, a raise at work. If you're starting a business, you can focus more on that, and you could scale your income. All these things are just strategies to ultimately just be able to get out of this mess that it just seems like most people are in, and to live a life that is no longer financially stressful. Take that how you will. That's just my words. That's what I've observed. And hopefully you gained some value from watching this. If you enjoyed the video, please like it and subscribe. If you disagreed or agreed, please feel free to leave a comment, start a discussion. That's what I'm here for. And yes, I appreciate you watching. I hope you're doing well. And until next time, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.